Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cece. Today's video is an update on my Outlander read-along. I finished A Breath of Snow and Ashes and I have a lot to say about it. Welcome back everybody. I have finally finished A Breath of Snow and Ashes. So I did part 1 video, now I'm just going to talk about part 2. First impressions, I had forgotten how much happened in this book. It is action-packed, like to the extreme. As I was reading, I would start to see what was happening and I would think oh my gosh, no, this isn't supposed to happen yet. There must be more time in between these events. But nope, there wasn't. It was just a roller coaster near the end, just event after event happening one after the other, like a set of dominoes basically. So yeah, it was definitely an exciting read. It took me a little while to get started on the second half, but once I was in it, it was, like I said, kind of a race to the finish. So there's just a couple things that I want to talk about specifically. I can't cover everything that happens in the book, but I can definitely talk about the major hitters for me. Okay, so if you don't know by now, young Ian is one of my absolute favorite characters. I love him so much. The second half of this book, we definitely get a lot of young Ian. The scene with him when he takes Brianna to see the mammoth fossil or bones, and he's kind of, he's in crisis, he's in emotional crisis, talking about his wife, the trouble that they had building their family and the children that they lost. And he's really looking for Brianna, his cousin, to help him in this time. He was wondering, what should he do? Should he go back to his wife? Should he try to fix things? Did he act wrong when they were together and they were losing these children? Should he have done something differently? And I just really thought that was very universal, right? Anyone can understand the depth of feeling that you would have in that situation. And Ian has trouble opening up. They all kind of comment in the book that he's, having some emotional struggles, and he kind of asks Brianna to come away with him and help him deal with it. So I just really appreciated that scene so much. Of course, I've read it before, but this time it really stuck with me a little bit more for whatever reason. So that scene really made an impact. Just his bond with Brianna, you don't see too many instances of them being close, but you can tell that they are close. And when she's kidnapped and he kind of is a big part of that rescue effort, and the scene where he and Roger confront Forbes and Roger punches him in the face and threatens him, and you can just tell that they're different kinds of men, because Roger gives in and punches him, but Ian, it just plays it calm, cool, and collected and cuts off his ear. And it is the best. It's the best, okay? And I don't even like this bloodthirsty stuff. I'm really not like that. I don't like gore. I don't like that stuff. But Ian cutting off Forbes's ear is perfect to me. It's just perfect. It's so what he deserves. It's so it's not a big deal, but it's a huge deal, and it just shows the power that Ian has. He just cuts it off right in a store, in a cafe. It just crazy. So good. So good. So yeah, all the stuff with Ian, it just made me, I was already excited to see Ian again. I was already excited for the future books and what I know is happening for him. But this really just shows again how much he is growing and how these life experiences that he's having are really shaping him into a specific kind of man. Right? He was kidnapped, he was taken from his home, he was sexually assaulted, and now you know, now he's a man that other people are afraid of him. Other people are afraid of him because he does things like cut off people's ears. But he still has pain. He's still totally human. And he reaches out to Brianna and she helps him. And he's on kind of a path to healing. But he knows his core values and he takes charge. So yeah, I just really loved all of the Ian stuff. I just loved it. When we talk more about Malva, I'll talk more about Ian again. It's just so great. All of it is just great. The other mystery that I kind of want to talk about, I don't know if mystery is the right word, but the other thing that I kind of want to speak on is the Jocasta, Duncan, Ulysses triangle or straight line. I don't know what to call it. It comes out, and I say Phaedra, but in the audiobook version I'm listening to, they call her Fed. So I'm not sure. Hopefully you know who I mean. It comes out that Phaedra's missing, presumed stolen or run away from River Run. And Claire and Jamie kind of look into it and they find Phaedra later on. And it turns out Ulysses sold her because she was, you know, having sex with Duncan. Meanwhile, Jocasta has been sleeping with Ulysses, her butler, for years, probably for years. And no one ever had any idea, but when they see it, they really see it. Phaedra knew and sort of threatened that knowledge against Ulysses. So he got rid of her. And Jocasta got rid of her because she didn't like that she was sleeping with her husband. Even though she has no interest in sleeping with her husband. And it was just a marriage to, you know, save them both, like a marriage of convenience for both of them. So really interesting. Jamie's reaction to that. Ulysses is obviously a black man and he, you know, technically is Jocasta's property for most of their relationship, but he says he's with her out of love, but is he? I don't know. And then at the end he leaves. Ulysses was a very funny character for me. I never really liked him. I never really liked Ulysses. And then this whole episode just really made me reevaluate, you know, how much power he truly has. But he does have some power compared to other characters like Phaedra. So that was really interesting. I wonder if we'll ever cross paths with Ulysses again. My guess is no, but it was interesting that he said he was going off to fight, you know, for his freedom. I was left with a big question mark, like, was he successful? Did he fight in the American Revolution and win his freedom that way? Like, is that something that happened? I don't know enough American history to know, but I was really interested in that storyline and kind of the triangle or the mix-up square that the four characters made and how, like, truly controlling and vengeful Jocasta was. I thought that was very interesting to see. It's a total blast from the past with Duncan and Dougal and Colum from Leoch, obviously her brothers. They're definitely cut from the same cloth. Yeah, it was just interesting to see that and how Jamie's a little bit like that, but he never really takes it too far the way that Jocasta did. And Colum and Dougal did as well in the past. The next one that I want to talk about is the Stephen Bonnet and Brianna thing. I had a hard time with this. I'm just going to say, I don't complain very often about stuff in these books because I really do love them. But this one was weird to me. I found this whole thing weird. So Forbes arranges to have her kidnapped. I will admit, my first time reading this book 2-3 years ago, I didn't get it. Forbes was that little scene where he's in one carriage following the other carriage and he's so happy and the carriage is like shut tight. I did think that was weird. I was like, what is this about? I didn't connect the dots until the author connects them for me in the book. I didn't get it. So I was really happy that this time through I was like, oh yeah, I know what's happening. Definitely worth a second or third read through for me. I think I was just so excited the first time that I read it that I wasn't paying close enough attention. So that part was fine. And then this whole thing where Bonnet like kidnaps her but makes her stay in his cabin, won't assault her, thankfully, because she's pregnant and he's terrified of being with a pregnant woman. I thought that was all really weird. And then he has a nightmare and she comforts him. Again, thought that was weird. Then there's this horrible scene at this house. That has always scared me, actually, when she's imprisoned in this house and she's trying to escape. And there's these terrifying people running around who just like to torture you. I've always had trouble reading that. The first time through, I had trouble reading it. And then this time through, I had trouble reading it again. I got through it, but I just went as fast as I could and didn't think very much. And then, so they catch Bonnet. Great. I understand why no one kills him at the time. I understand that. I'm totally on board with that. Let the law, let justice go through. So then he's convicted of piracy or whatever, and he's staked to drown. And she promised him that she wouldn't let him drown, so she makes Roger row her out there and she shoots him. And he's like, I knew you'd come. It's so weird. I don't understand. I don't understand why she would promise that. I don't understand why she would follow through with it. Maybe you'd promise that because, he's abducted you and you'll say anything. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Whatever. It's not an ongoing storyline because Bonnet's finally dead. But I don't know. I've said this before. I don't love Brianna's character. Maybe it's just that I have difficulty with her character because she does everything the opposite of how I would do it. I'm not sure, but I just did not understand that. So who knows? Maybe I will later on. I don't know. Okay, one other thing that I wanted to talk about in the book is how at the end, it really does seem like a race to the finish. I was looking at how many pages I had left, and it was this many compared to all this bit that I had read. And the Frasers and the Mackenzies come down off the mountain, and I'm like, oh my God, Bree's gonna meet her brother, William. How do we have time for this in this book? The book is so close to being done. And I feel like they leave that part on kind of a cliffhanger, right? Where Brianna is so insistent she meet him. She wants him to be told, you have a sister, Jamie's your natural father, all this stuff about your childhood was a lie. And of course, Jamie and John Gray say no and hold firm on that, which I think is positive at this stage. But she meets him, and it was cool. It was very cool. It was nice how Lord John Gray and Jamie have this bond where they both truly care about William, and he's their first priority. And then they're such good friends, and they totally understand each other. Whereas Brianna is this modern woman, and she just does not get it. And they try to make her understand. I don't think she does truly understand, but she goes along with it. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. I'm eager to see in the next book, the one coming out in November, will they meet? Will there, William and Brianna, will they meet? How will their relationship go? I'm way going ahead to 2 more books in the series, but I'm curious to see how that all plays out. I hope it goes well. I'm sure it will not. I'm sure there will be lots of drama, of course, because it's a book. But yeah, I'm interested to see how this little family, Jamie, Lord John, William, Bree, Claire, Roger, and the kids, I'm interested to see how they all work it out, because they all come from very different perspectives, very different worlds. Some rich, some impoverished, some privileged, some not. Different times, different sensibilities. So yeah, I do like that. And I'm interested to see how that progresses for all of them. I want to talk about how much I enjoyed Claire in prison. I really enjoyed that whole little sidetracky story of her going to prison and meeting, what's her name? Sally? Or Sadie Ferguson? Sadie something. I really enjoyed that whole part. The chapter 46 Beans to the Good or something. I just really liked that. I thought it was great. I didn't so much enjoy, all the changes that, so she's in jail, then she's not in jail, then she's on a ship, then she's not on the ship. then Tom Christie comes, then she's back with Jamie. I thought it happened really, really fast, but I did really enjoy reading it. I have to confess that I really did like it. So yeah, so that part was cool. The prison stuff was my favorite. Yeah, and I thought Claire handled it remarkably well. Very surprising, actually. So yeah, the Claire in prison stuff, interesting. Now she and Jamie have both been to prison, although very different experiences and very different lengths of time. Okay, I'm gonna kind of talk about the historical, like, things going on in the second half of this book. We're definitely building towards revolution. We're seeing Jamie call his tenants to fight, you know, for liberty. They're very surprised. I think most of them thought that he would be, you know, with the king and with Great Britain, but he's not. He's fighting on the side of liberty. And we see these neighbors in a lot of different areas. Neighbors, you know, still being neighbors, still being friends, but then having this essential difference of opinion that in this time really, really matters. And they are building up to war. They're building up to literally fighting people who you've shared a meal with and you've hosted in your home for weeks on end. Now you're on totally opposite sides. And John and Jamie find themselves on opposite sides. They're exchanging, you know, pretty heated letters. And there's a couple characters. Major McDonald, you know, he asks Jamie to fight for the side of the king, and Jamie says no, and then he says, well, I'm not spending the night in your home if you're a traitor. Like a traitor, that's literally what he thinks. And it all just kind of, yeah, I found that really interesting. That also makes me think of kind of the prophecy or the newspaper article with the fire. I thought that was wrapped up very well, very climactic, and then actually climactic, right, with the phosphorus in the Roger and Bree's home, and then the fire. I really liked that. I like that Diana fully explained it. I like that she showed that scene at the very, very end with the printer shop getting the date wrong and how that kind of happened. So I really appreciated that. As a reader, I really liked having that kind of solved for me. So I thought that was great. We're at the big reveal. I've mentioned her name only once in passing so far in this video. We got to talk about Malva. Holy smokes. Oh my gosh, this Malva storyline really took a turn. Really took a turn. I liked her at the start. When she first entered the series, I really liked Malva. I thought she was great. I started getting inklings with the scene of Claire seeing Tom like beat her. It was interesting how Claire had really horrible feelings about it, but Jamie didn't at all. And this is definitely a time when I think Jamie and Claire might have needed to pay more attention, and they just didn't. They just accepted facts as they were. I don't know. Is Malva an evil character, or is it just the evil things that have happened to her? I really felt for her. And then the scene at the end with her brother Alan kind of confessing to Claire what he did, and the fact that he abused her from both their childhoods, although he's older than her by enough, I think, to put him in a position of total power and control over her. Yeah, just super dark. Again, I'm glad that it was solved for us at the end. I'm glad that we didn't keep wondering. It's very clear before we find out that it was Alan who killed her, that everyone's very put on edge by this whole incident. I wonder who, I can't remember. I don't know if Claire and Ian, he also heard the confession, although Alan didn't know he was there. I wonder if they tell anyone. Do they tell Jamie the full story? I don't know if they do. I'm gonna have to keep an eye out for it. Obviously it's been solved in this book. It's not a continuing storyline. We may or may not see Tom Christie again. I don't want to comment on that, although I do know. But we definitely don't see Malva. She's passed, and Alan is also dead. I think thankfully killed by Ian. I think he made the right decision. Yeah, Oh, it was yucky. I think the part that disturbed me the most was that she attempted to poison her father and Claire. I can kind of see why she tried to poison Tom, her father, because he beat her up all her life, really tried to control her, really tried to tame her wildness, if you will, but meanwhile, the whole time she was being abused by her brother and he never noticed. I can understand that. I don't understand really why she tried to kill Claire. Claire was never anything but kind and helpful to her. And if she had just trusted her a little bit and told her what was going on, instead of saying Jamie had, slept with her and gotten her pregnant, it just would have been so much better. And I don't understand why Malva couldn't see that Claire would never believe her. I don't understand why she can't see that. I guess she's stupid or just not knowing how a healthy marriage looks. Oh, but yeah, so interesting. That was the part that kept me flipping those pages so quick and just listening every chance I got, because it was so good. It was so good. Okay, so that's my review of A Breath of Snow and Ashes, the end of the book, the final bit. I just want to talk about timing. So I finished on time by like the skin of my teeth, kind of. It is Monday, October 18th today when I'm filming. I'm going to edit and post at the end of this week, I think, and then I'm going to start an Echo in the Bone tonight or tomorrow, I guess. I got to get on it. So I'm doing well. I'm keeping up. It is close. It's a tight race. I almost hope that I catch like a cold or something so that I can stay home one whole day and just read. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Obviously I don't want to get sick, especially in these times, but if it were to happen and I were to have a day of reading, I wouldn't complain, because it would put me in a little bit more of a comfortable spot for this read along and getting ready for bees. The other thing that I want to talk about is I saw this on Facebook and I signed up. It's an event that Diana Gabaldon is hosting. It's virtual. If you live in the States, which I do not, you can pay money to go to this virtual event and you'll get a signed copy of the book and some other like gifts and stuff. I live in Canada, so it's not even an option for me to pay. I can only sign up for the free ticket, which is great because that's all I probably would have done. But it's a free ticket. She's talking about the book. She's promoting Bees the night before it's released. So it's on the 22nd. Bees is released November 23rd. So I have pre-ordered my book. I did that this weekend. I thought, yeah, I deserve to pre-order this book. So I did that, and then I'm going to that event, which I'm really excited about. So yeah, that's it for this update. The reading is going well. I wish I were reading just a little bit faster so I could have a little bit of breathing room, but I am really enjoying it. It's definitely keeping me on my toes and I'm loving it. So what more can you ask for? Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any comments or anything you want to say about this book, A Breath of Snow and Ashes, I really did enjoy it. Again, it's not my #1 pick, but it's probably in the top 3, maybe top 5. I don't know. I say that after every book, so it's probably not accurate. I'll have to do it at the very end and rank them all, actually. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.